Good day, everyone. I thought today we could head off to another thrift store today. This time I'm trying to work my way down Cape for as long as we're allowed to go out and there's no issues with that. So the next village down is West Barnstable. And actually Sandwich is quite large, so it's about a half an hour trip to get to this place we're going in West Barnstable from our house on 6A in Sandwich. And we are going to be on historic Route 6A, which is the old road that runs through the Cape. So I'll try to get some footage of that too, just because it's a really lovely drive. I like taking that more than, we have a highway system on the Cape, and I actually take 6A much more because it's like 35 miles an hour, but so scenic, and when you're not in a rush, it's nice. But I thought we'd go there. West Barnstable is a very, very tiny village, and I really do love it. And actually my mother-in-law lives there, and I wish I could give you a tour of her house because I love her home. But unfortunately we have not been able to visit since March because she's older and her boyfriend is, his health is more compromised, so we just haven't felt it's been safe. So who knows what will happen for Christmas, but yes, we haven't seen them since March. But I'm dying to show you her house because I love her kitchen. So hopefully one day we'll be able to do that. But today let's just head off to West Barnstable, and we're going to a thrift store that's actually run by the Cancer Society. Lovely older ladies run it, and it's always so clean and orderly. It's not very large, but sometimes I find some interesting little treasures. So let's head off and see what we can come up with and see what we end up with at the end of this video when I edit it. All right, let's head out. Well, as we're driving up historic Route 6A, I figure I might as well film a little bit because the autumnal colors are still quite striking. A lot of the leaves have fallen, but many are still around. But I just love the old stone walls, the hedgerows, the old colonial and Cape houses. And as you drive down Route 6A, there are little bits that open up. You can see wetlands and marshlands that head out into the open sea. So I just think it's a lovely drive. And I often choose to drive this way as opposed to taking, you could actually hop on quite easily onto our highway system from Old Kings and get to where we're going, but I much prefer to take the historic route. The hedgerows and the stone walls just, I mean, even though you have to drive 35 to 40 depending on which village you're in, I don't mind it at all. So here's we're pulling into West Barnstable, which is the next village after Sandwich. You can see it's a collection of old colonial and early Victorian homes. And here's the old library, all shingled in stone, and a few houses. This house is lovely in the shingle vernacular of the early Victorian of the Cape. And the little village hall for West Barnstable. A pair of Adirondack chairs, which we often see here. And then of course this is the iconic the old village store here on the high street or the main street of West Barnstable, which is a very small village. So here we are at the Cape Cancer Thrift Shop, which is right off of Route 6A in West Barnstable, and it is a sweet little old house that's been converted into a shop. Now, you used to be able to go upstairs in the shop, but today I noticed, I think because they're getting ready for Christmas, that we weren't able to go up there. But there's still some fun little treasures, and you saw it, they do call this a thrift shop, and all ready for Christmas. So as we walk in, you can see it is a thrift store, but it has some lovely things, and everything is well cared for. Like this was a pretty Christmas set of dishes in reds and whites, and it is a Staffordshire 8-piece place setting for $125. So that, you know, it's quite pricey for a thrift shop, but then that's because of the season. They'll also have things that are priced very well. I did not leave with this lamp, but I came so close to purchasing it just because it's only $48, and it really was a sweet, the base was a lovely metal, and the little china base with the figures was really beautiful, and I thought it would be so quaint to have it with the funny china we're going to be using in the boathouse and the little chair I bought at the thrift store a few weeks back with the 18th century figures on. But you know what, I'll go back, and if it's there, maybe I'll consider it. And but yes, it's because this is a thrift shop. Because it's a thrift shop, there are you know, nice little old tables at affordable prices, $48. $48 seemed to be a price that someone must have had in their head the day that they were pricing, because I found a lot of things specifically at that price point. And I'm trying to go slow, and I was using my new gimbal, but again, it is not a high-end gimbal, so it works somewhat, but it's basically a weighted thing I hold in my hand. But I do think it's a little bit less shaky. And of course, they had scarves, which I probably almost always buy a scarf when I go thrift shopping. And they have some costume jewelry. This was a pretty little clock. Actually, this I loved. This, I think it's just a reproduction, but it's just a funny little dog nutcracker. He bites down on the nut. I love that. I considered it, but I bought a few other things. So I was trying to be good and pinch my pennies. And as we head around this way, we can go into the back room. And of course, interspersed are Christmas things, because that is the time of the year it is. And this actually was a sweet little, it wasn't a candle box. I actually wasn't sure what it was. And then a darling little mirror. But again, even though it's a thrift store, you can see it's well organized. Things are clean. The older ladies who are volunteers who run this are, they're just really sweet ladies. I'm just noticing that mirror candle. I didn't see that when I was in there. I thought this was sweet. This is very New England. And but I did not notice that little candle. I may have to go back. And then as we turn around, there are some sweet little Victorian chairs, glassware. Actually, that sort of cane chair in the corner, that's sort of French, that pair of chairs. I didn't notice that when I was in there, which another reason I like recording my life now is when I watch these back, I can see things that I'm not seeing when I'm in there, because I'm also trying to be conscientious about holding the camera. But now that I'm looking at it, I think that pair of chairs and that table go together, so I'm going to have to make another trip back and see if that is what the price of that is. But just random glassware, you know, some things. Again, this is a thrift shop, so these are probably from the 80s. Nothing fancy, but again, a good price. I thought this was a beautiful set of china, $175 for the whole piece. Not sure if it was porcelain or not, but I think it was just like the Japanese, what is it, Noritake, I believe. But really delicate and pretty. And that was all gold and white. So actually could fit quite nicely into, if you had another collection of china, I think it could intersperse. You could mix quite easily with another, either a white set or a set with even color. And just some other glass, depression glass, and a funny little fruit tea set. Actually, that lamp I didn't notice at first. I will have to go back and look at that. And these little iron doors, or these little old irons I like as doorstops. It didn't focus, but those are only $8 a piece. I think that's a fair price. And random books and little odds and ends. And again, all of this is just things that are donated to the society as they raise money for cancer. And then these two little metal pieces here in the corner, we'll come back to those in a little bit. A sweet little ladder back chair. And then this room they had set up with Christmas things. Now, oddly enough, I didn't get one bit of Christmas from here. I guess I just wasn't inspired at the things I had. But after I got home, I kind of wished I had, they had a lot of ruby glass, the red glass out, because it's, well, it's quite popular on the Cape, but also because it was Christmas. I think they thought it was probably the best time to have it displayed. And even their sign was all the red glass was 50 cents, whilst any other glass would be half off. But I love these little sets. I thought they were sweet, but I don't really need them, so I was tempted, but I didn't do it. I thought about getting them to use for Christmas decorations, but they're too small, so we'll see. I can always go back. I thought maybe doing like 5 of them just to put one vintage bulb in the top of each one, maybe on a mantle. So that's still an idea. I may go back. And, you know, just very thrift shop. Again, you can see the prices are marked from $1 to $4, and then they just put little stickers on so you can see what something costs. And most of these things, of course, are just modern things, probably even bought at Christmas tree shops years ago. And but still, just, I know everyone likes to have a little browse, and I know many people are probably not able to get out, so I tried to not pan too quickly. I hope that's not too weak. Now, yes, normally we can go up these stairs here, but they had it marked off, and I think it was they were trying to organize things for what they were displaying for Christmas. So I will bring you back here again. But there are so many craft stores, so many places to shop on the Cape that we'll never run out of places to go. I thought this was a really pretty mirror. Obviously, it's a reproduction, sort of a Venetian-style mirror, but for $35, I thought it was quite good. I was very tempted But then I actually got distracted by other things and only just now remembered it. And oh yes, you can see the sign says the upstairs is temporarily closed. And just another swoop around. Oh, and then yes, back to these. Now these are heavy, nice heavy metal pieces. I'm not sure how antique they are, but they looked quite authentic. And you can see they were only $8 a piece. So I just couldn't resist, because for the old original fireplace in the keeping room at Old King's Cottage, I think they would be perfect for it. I kind of considered this old mallard, this old decoy, until I scanned down, and then my love of miniatures, I couldn't help but when I saw the next shelf you're about to see, my little heart went pitter-pat. First, I love the little scale, but this little stove, which is all cast iron and made like a true wood stove with the little tools, the frying pans and other little hobs lifted up. So, and it had originally been $110 and it was marked down to $48. So I couldn't resist. So I set it aside. And like this little mirror is $24. I kept coming back to this funny duck. I almost purchased it, but I didn't really need it. And that little side table, only $45, a great table for like the side of a bed. I thought this christening gown was beautiful, but all my nieces and nephews have been christened years ago and I haven't any children, so. But the costume jewelry was, I mean, it's just costume jewelry, but it wasn't dear. And actually would be fun for the dressing up box. I didn't get anything, but there were some interesting fun pieces, so I thought I would do a little scan for those of you who like to look at costume jewelry. And again, they do a nice job of displaying it. More costume jewelry. And then this, which you can't tell here, but it's a brown and cream scarf. And I really like that, so I ended up getting that. All right, let's head back home. And back home again, jiggity jig. So after a fun day out, driving up 6A, we're back home at low tide. Not sure if you can see. And there's a sailboat out, which is lovely to see this time of the year, as most summer people have returned home. However, this year being what it is, it could easily be those who have chosen to stay in their summer house year-round, because 2020 is not a normal year. But I think we had a fun day outing, and as we're out, and before we get to the very simplified version of my light show on the beach, which we can't do until the sun sets, I figured I'd let you have a gander at the sea and see as the sun is setting. Well, that was a fun day out and a pretty fruitful day out. I was pretty excited. So as you can see, I've changed I got this silk scarf today at the Cancer Thrift, and I thought I'd put it on to show you. I decided to tie it like a man's tie, which I like to wear my scarves that way sometimes. And then these wonderful things. I was so excited to find, anytime I find old things like this that are appropriate, age appropriate for old kings, I like to nab them. Sometimes at antique shops, they're quite expensive. I mean, this would be hundreds of dollars at our sandwich antique place we like to go. But at the Cancer Thrift, it was $8, and it's forged iron with a beautiful curved handle. So that's going on the fireplace in the dining room at Old King's. And this is beautiful brass, really, really heavy, also $8. Now I don't know the age of it, but it looks age appropriate. Even the piercings look to be done by, not by machine, but by a hand applied tool. And again, a hole, so both of these will hang quite lovely at Old King's. So I was pretty excited. So for $16, I couldn't say no. Now this was a splurge, which I probably shouldn't do, but I couldn't resist because I love miniatures. Now this was originally marked at $110, which is understandable because this is definitely an antique, and it may be the type of antiques. It's either a child's antique or it is a reproduction. When the salesman would go around to sell items, often they would have a shrunken version of something, and this has so many working parts that I wonder if this was actually a display model that a salesman would take around. But it was marked down to $45, so I got this for $45, which does seem like a lot for this, but I really, really like miniatures, and I'm going to be incorporating this into our Christmas decorations this year at Old Kings, so that should be fun. But I really want to show how amazing this is. This works pretty much like an actual old cook stove, which my mother-in-law, who I said I would love to show you, she has one of these in her home. She has a beautiful 1920s stove that she cooks on, and then she has an old, even probably bigger than, well, obviously bigger, this is a miniature, I mean a different version of this, but she has an old wood stove that they also have in her kitchen that she uses. She used to cook on when they had their house in Maine, but then she moved it here to their house on the Cape, and they use it for heating the house as a supplementary heating. But this little bit comes off, and if you can see, this actually opens, and it's all metal, the actual metal they would use to make it out of. And it even has the little handles that lifts the tops of the hobs out. I forget what that's called, but it's a little handle, and there are three. One of them seems to be missing unless it wasn't meant to be there. But see how that lifts out? It may not meant to be there, because then you could also put the pan directly over it. But these little pans, I wish you could feel how heavy they are. This is actually a little cast iron skillet and a little cast iron cauldron. It is just adorable. I'm going to try to get some close-up shots with the camera to show it off, but it is amazing. What I would love to do, but I don't know because I don't want to ruin it, I've seen online people have cooked things in miniature versions of something, and this is hot enough, and it has holes in the bottom so the old wood ash would fall through. I'm so tempted to make a little miniature fire in here and cook one of my quail's eggs on here. Oh, it would be so adorable. I don't know if I'll do that. Say in the comments if you think it would be fun, or if you think I would be an idiot and I would ruin the enamel on this piece, which is probably what I would do, so I'm not sure. But it's so adorable, and these pans are so sweet. So this will probably have many different homes. Like I'll move it around because I like to make little arrangements all the time. But I think I want to try to incorporate it this winter at Old Kings when we do our Christmas decorations. So we'll see. So stay tuned for that. We'll see what I come up with that. The light's not that great, but here's a close-up version. Excuse my gloves. I was just taking the chickens some treats. But look at this sweet little cast iron pan, and how each of these little, how the hob plates can lift up just as it would in a genuine stove. As I said, my mother-in-law has a stove like this in real life. You simply lift this out, and this goes in like that and lifts them up. And here's another little pan, and the little frying pan, and look at this darling little kettle, and look at the little door opens. So see, you really could set a fire inside, although I don't know if you should. And even this bit here comes off as it does in the real one. Isn't it adorable? So yes, today's excursion was pretty good. I got this amazing antique, and then I got these two things also for Old Kings. So, oh, and my scarf. So I think it was a fruitful day out, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. And before we close out today, I just wanted to close with something kind of fun. Basically born of the idea in the chats at Lalande. One of our dear chat chums, Philip, jokingly said I should do a light show as they were doing at Lalande. But of course, I don't have a chateau, nor a large fountain, nor a group of people to put a lighting system in. However, I couldn't resist a challenge, so I'm going to close out today with my version of a light show, so shall we say, on our beach. So enjoy it for what it is, which is a very silly, sort of funny look at doing a light show. But at the same time, I love that our community is so interactive in that way. And I also love that Lalande always inspires, even in a fun way where I'm, you know, it's, I guess you could say it's an homage to Lalande. I certainly don't think I'm comparing myself with them, but their lighting show inspired me enough to think, you know what, I am going to go down to the beach and see what I can come up with. So, all right, well, thanks for joining me today, and I think it was a fun day, and I hope you enjoyed our outing, and I will see you on the chats, and I will probably be seeing you on a chat right now if this is my premiere, and I'll see you later today at Lalande and at Dan's, and in the week as well, and in the comment section. So thank you so much, and thank you all new subscribers. I'm really excited to see that I have 4,000 followers. That's quite amazing to me, since my original goal was 100 subscribers. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I hope everyone's enjoying the journey, and enjoy my rather quiet, probably somewhat boring little life. But all right, let's close out here with my light show. And remember, stay creative. This is so adorable. Well, I hope you're enjoying the majesty and greatness of this amazing light show. And here you can see the high-tech way in which I made it. A handful of gels,